care deeply. But Avram has the business now. He can take care. I promise you. He knows what he's doing. Just trust him. Okay, we'll trust him a little bit and call me later. All right. Yeah, the matzah ball was wonderful. It was excellent. Thank you. Oh, there's things I don't miss about the business. Do you ever have problem clientele? You know those high maintenance people who take all the extra time? Those folks you just can't please. My father told me of the fellow down the street who would always get on his wife, wanting 2 eggs every morning. One day he would want them scrambled. Another day he would want them fried. And no matter which she did on which day, it was always, "You're not doing it right." You know the story. One day she walked out with a plate, one scrambled and one fried. And he looked at her and said, "You scrambled the wrong one." Oh, through the years, I think of the people that took my time that I used to think, "Oh, dear God, why can't I have customers who are easy to deal with?" And then I started following Jesus. How did he find these people? Every place, for the longest time, I thought he was just, a jerk magnet. Any place he went. But then I realized he picked Peter. And he said the same thing about me. And then it hit me. If my Lord knew all, he knew where they were. He was a jerk magnet. He was pulled to them. Lepers, losers, hookers, half-wits, demon-possessed men, women who were bleeding, unclean, all of them. I remember the time we saw those 2 demon-possessed men. I know Peter told Mark there was one. He doesn't pay attention. But one of them stepped up. The lepers who walked up and said, "Oh, if you are willing, you can make me clean." And they knelt in front of him. And all of us are getting back because we're thinking, they don't touch. You touch and you're unclean. You've got to go outside. You've got to wash off. You've got to separate yourself from the people. For generations, God had told us, stay clean, stay clean, stay clean. Your mother would send you out, being careful. Don't let the shadow of a Gentile fall on you. Be careful, my father would say. If you get too close to a woman, you can become unclean. Oy, how right he was about that. And so I had spent all of my life avoiding things and avoiding people and dancing around them. Jesus knew this. And this messy Messiah, who we thought was going to take us all out of the mess, says, "Boys, we're going in. We're going into the mess." And every place he went, he found and touched. Not just touched. "Come here, you look like a leper." It's all about to come out. Turn. Kneel, kneel, kneel. Put your hands like a supplicant. He's saying, "Please, Lord, now if I was Jesus, I know that I've got to bless him. I need to cure him. But do you think I'm going to touch him? No, and I don't have to. I can say, 'Be clean, go away.'" He told Lazarus, "Come out alive," and he did, so surely he could heal a leper without touching him. We were all standing watching as Jesus reached out his hand. God, don't touch him. If you get leprosy and die, we can't even write the New Testament. I was waiting for one of these, Hey, be clean. Or maybe, be clean. But just here, let the hem of my garments hit you. Be clean. But that's not what he did. Jesus taught me like no one had ever before to roll up my sleeves if I wanted to do God's business. You can't do God's business off in some private room somewhere. You can't do God's business acres from the mess. You got to love the mess. You got to say, I am willing. You'll be clean. Do you know when the last time he had a hug was? I'm making a serious point here. Nobody hugs a leper. Nobody goes up and puts their arms around them this way unless you have a death wish. Nobody does this unless you want to say goodbye to temple services. Nobody does this unless you're at the end of your dating life. But my messy Messiah kept holding him, touching him, healing him not just from his leprosy, but from the belief that because he was a mess, he had no place in God's business. God loves messes. And the business that we're called on to be in is to touch the messes, is to hold the messes. Sometimes I hear Christian people talking in some of the communities that are beginning, and it's like they want to insult. What kind of business do you think you're in? The dry cleaners. We'll bring you in and we'll straighten you up and we'll get all the wrinkles out. Look at you. And we'll send you back better. Not so. What do you think? You're Home Depot for the soul? Come and we'll give you all the tools you need to get better. There's a special today on Bible verse reading. Here, we got this Bible study guide. It's even on Matthew. What a great book. But my book was not meant for you to take and somehow use to build yourself up, to make yourself strong, to make yourself holy. No. God's message is you will always be a mess. And he loves you anyway. He calls you to be a holy mess. No excuses. No soft, easy gospel. The Lord that looked at people and said, you look over your shoulder, you're not fit for the kingdom. That's no soft, easy gospel. The Lord who was spit on and mocked and beaten, that's no soft, easy gospel. But it is not a gospel of clean you up so that people will be impressed. It is not a gospel of hide your wrinkles and dry clean out your mess. It is a gospel of lepers, prostitutes. One of my brothers came to me the other day. He said, Levi, I'm a little worried. Some of the people that are coming to the assembly, I don't know if you noticed, but when we left last week, Jacob's prayer shawl was missing. We think one of the visitors you invited maybe took it. We're thinking maybe we need to start asking people at the door, are you really a Christian? You know, are you really committed? Because, well, I don't know how to put it, but Abe pulled me aside and said that one of the prostitutes winked at his son. Maybe we need a prostitute service. Them and the thieves could all come early. Could you believe that there would ever come a day when the prostitutes and the thieves would not flock to the assembly of the Messiah? Could there ever come a day when a prostitute or a leper or a thief would feel unwelcome in the people of God's business? That's ridiculous. That's unthinkable. Why, how in the world could you call that a Christian assembly if there are no prostitutes or thieves or messed up people there? I told him, I said, if you're going to kick out all the messed up people, where shall we begin? Me? You? You? You want to be about God's business? If there's not some jerks around you, you're in the wrong place. if there's not some losers in your midst, then he may not be in your midst. Because he sent us to touch and to hug and to hold and to join them in the complete and total acceptance of grace. If I don't accept it, if I don't admit that you're the Messiah and I'm not, then I come each week like people used to come to me. I owe, so I got to go see Matthew. I got to work out a payment plan. Well, the Romans accept so much each week. I see people in Christian assembly walk in as though they're here to see God the loan shark, because he sent Rocco to their house. We haven't seen you at temple lately. Should I make you an offer you cannot refuse? Is that the way we will come? Here's another payment. I'll get one more next week. Coming Wednesday. Mark off. I'll even be there early. Mark it off. That's one thing the lepers and the thieves knew. The prostitute said, what have I got to give God? And Jesus says, what do you have? And they said, nothing but a worn out, used up heart. And he said, that's all he wants. Because if he has that, he'll have you. He was a ragamuffin. He probably was a little pickpocket. But when a couple of the boys came to the Lord and said, excuse me, but we were just wondering, if this is a business, will you soon be appointing the board? How many vice presidents do you plan on having? Their mother had even asked. My boys, you think? VP marketing, VP customer support. And Jesus looked at the two of them. Sons of thunder. And then he saw the ragamuffin. You, boy! He froze. No, come here. Dirty face, dirty hands, dirty everything. And he took him and he hugged him to his chest and he put him right in the middle of all of us. The boy thought it was a stoning. Peter was looking for a rock. Jesus held him right there and looked at all of us and said, if you want to rise in the ladder in my company, you want to do my business, this is the goal. This is the vice presidency. This is our general manager. You want to go to a seminar? Watch him. Hey, boy, go play. He was so glad to be alive, he ran to his friends. And we watched him. We watched him for an hour. Did you ever watch children play? There were Jewish children and Gentile children, and they were all just playing together. There was a boy who had a shriveled hand, but no one mocked him. There were girls and there were boys. There were some who were taller, some who were shorter, but they all just played together. And when one of them stubbed his toe, 4 or 5 rushed around him and, oh, are you okay? Oh, my goodness. That's when it hit me. All these years, and I didn't understand it. My father's business is child's play. And God help us to learn how. To love each other. And play like messy children with dirty hands. Oh. Excuse me. Hello, Levi. Avram. No, it's the form 560. Get me, it's in the back. Go to the back.